The comedy community is still healing from the loss of one of its beloved legends, comedian A.J. Johnson. After many had expressed their condolences when they heard the news, Johnson's widow, Lexis Jones Mason, made a statement saying, "Y'all say y'all love him, but where's the love? Y'all not helping. We're raising money because I have to pay for all of this out of pocket." After Mason's statements were made, Black Enterprise had reported that the GoFundMe campaign had exceeded its goal after reaching over $54,000 in donations. It was reported that several people had reached out to help pay for funeral expenses, including rapper Offset, Michael Blackson, Lil Rel, and others. Not everyone was supportive over the GoFundMe campaign, including TK Kirkland, who was a guest on Vlad TV where he advised viewers to get life insurance. TK said, "Do not put your loved ones in a position to do GoFundMe. To ask for a handout and the person who asked for the handout, that person should be embarrassed. Asking to help as well because it goes to show you your bad planning should not be my emergency." Today we have our comedy hype analysts, Vanessa Fraction, Pierre, and Capone calling in to give their reactions on this video. Now, I do want to come to you first, Vanessa, and I want to, be very sensitive in this. I know recently you just experienced, the father of your children passing away and you having to, deal with those arrangements. Seeing things like this where, his lady is reaching out and asking for help in those funeral charges, what are your thoughts being that, you not necessarily had the same experience, but you've kind of had to, be in that position where you're having to deal with a loved one of that magnitude's arrangement?
First, I just want to clarify, it was my daughter's father.
Okay.
So that
thank you for that. Thank you.
Anybody that knows me personally.
Right.
But yeah, my daughter's father. And his sister dealt with everything and so forth. But I'll just get straight to what TK said. He covered all the bases. I have nothing really negative to say about anything that he said. And in fact, thanks, TK, because I'm sure a lot of people have been helped by hearing about those resources and for taking the time to actually give the links to the resources, you know what I mean? And even breaking it down, saying, hey, look, if you can't afford, because we get it, life insurance, go ahead and get that burial insurance, you know what I mean? He was on point with that. Now, me in particular, do I have an issue with people doing GoFundMes? No, I do not, sometimes in those situations, because, wholeheartedly, I agree with everything TK said about being responsible for your stuff. You know what I mean? But a GoFundMe doesn't offend me if you're asking thousands of people who say that they, support to give $5, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, that adds up very, very quickly. So I'm not specifically against doing that. Yes, I understand where he said that's a bit embarrassing, but she said she had to humble herself to even make that post. But yeah, I feel TK is on point with what he's saying. And yeah, it's unfortunate when you do have to do it that way, but I also don't look down on you because you did it that way. And kudos to Lil Rel and Michael Blackson and those that.
Right. Now, Pierre, I want to come to you next. After seeing that and hearing some of the things that TK had to say, what's your reaction to that?
I would say word for word what Vanessa said. I'll be honest with you. I can't even tell nothing different to say. While she was talking, I was like, damn, you're hitting on all the points I was going to say. So there's nothing I can really say. Kudos for TK Kirkland for coming out that position and even giving the links, not just talking about it, but putting some energy behind it, let people know how quickly you can get changed stuff. I didn't know cities had burial situations.
I didn't either.
So that was a good look that he did, told and stuff. So kudos to TK for, laying it out and, but like I said, everything she said, not to be embarrassed with the GoFundMe. If you do a GoFundMe, everyone doesn't lay out their life perfectly. And sometimes there's mistakes happen. Things happen. If it happens, I don't want to sit there and say, oh man, you should have had a funeral service. I ain't gonna help support you. No, things happen. I'm in the business. This business goes up and down like a heart meter. So sometimes you might not be, did the right thing. I want to see you leave this earth, you know what I'm saying, in a decent way that you like. And if it's giving you $100 or $5, whatever, for all the fans, ain't nothing wrong with that either.
Now, I want to come to you next, Capone. What's your reaction?
I just wonder why you're always coming to me last after they said what they said, and it makes me feel like I'm copying what they said. So I totally agree with both of them. The only thing I don't agree with TK is, and TK's my dude, and he speaks from truth. But a GoFundMe doesn't only necessarily, like if you're doing a movie and you need help and you want to fulfill your dreams and you don't have all the cash to do a movie and you want people to help you to do the movie and those people believe that you can make this happen, I don't see anything wrong with asking for money. I mean, if people got the money and they're willing to help and this is an avenue to ask for it, then you ask for it.
But I do think on TK Kirk, I think we were talking about funeral wise. He may agree with you with that. He might agree with you about raising money for other things, but for the funeral part, he thinks you should get together your funeral life. You should have that together, opposed to movies, anything else. Sure. And
Well, I'm sorry to say, even though I might have the money to put away, I don't even know what a funeral costs. And a lot of us don't know what a funeral costs because so many of us are afraid of death. So we don't even, some of us don't plot. We don't go to see where we're going to get buried at. There are some that do. My grandmother was one who told me that this is something I should do in my 20s. And I still couldn't hear it back then. But, you know, people don't think that way. And not to say you're going to live all the time, but there's so many people afraid of death. They just really is scared to have that conversation. And a lot of times when the time comes, there are many of us that's not prepared for it.
And that was one thing that TK said over and over again. It's going to happen. And he said that when deaths happen, that's he said use that as a reminder that I need to get my stuff in order. Let me make sure my house is in order. And so he covered that as well, and saying, you know, about how people don't want to face it.
Now here's the thing I didn't like about the whole what he was saying was correct. But don't make us feel guilty if we don't want to give you money. You don't know our position as fans or people. When she said all the fans didn't want to give no money and all that, like, y'all don't really care. That doesn't mean we don't care because we don't have the money to give you to get to bury that person. Let's not do that now. Just say thank you for those who gave it. If you couldn't, no problem. But to try to guilt somebody into giving you some money on a GoFundMe page for a funeral, that's a no-no to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying she said that?
She did, and I think that's why.
Okay.
I do want to interject there because Capone, I do want to tell you. So, according to the median national funeral, with a viewing and burial cost of $7,640, average funeral costs skyrocket past $9,000. Just to kind of, I know you say you're not familiar with, you know, how much it costs. According to the median national funeral, that's about the average that it costs for a funeral.
Is that a good casket or is that a regular casket?
Probably not the one that you want. Now, I do want to bring up, because Pierre, you brought up a great point, and that's actually the second part to this conversation. Do you think that fans should be responsible for their favorite celebrities, you know, beyond supporting their art? And Pierre, I'll bring it back to you. I know you kind of touched on it, but I just want to ask you very directly. Do you think fans should have that responsibility?
Well, no, the wrong word to me is responsible. Yes. I'm not responsible for someone else. Now that ain't gonna be responsible. Now, is it a nice thing to do? Is it, you know, is it you know, respectable? Yes. But to say I owe you that, when I saw you do a movie, I paid money to see that movie. We're even now. If I go see you in a concert, I paid money to see your concert. We're even now. I don't owe you nothing past that. You know, we gave. So don't put the pressure on me, you know, to do that. If you want to be nice enough to pay for somebody, your celebrity friend, whatever, so GoFundMe page, you go right do it. But responsible? No, ma'am. I'm not really. We're even once I paid for what I saw. We're even Steven at that point.
Right. Now, I want to bring that same question up to you, Vanessa. What do you think about that responsibility? Because I think some people may feel that from, you know, her outreach is like, hey, you say you love them, but where's the support? They kind of, you know, some people may feel like she's saying, oh, because I tell you that I support your craft, you're trying to say I'm responsible for, you know, adding to the funeral cost. What are your thoughts on that responsibility?
I think that responsible is the wrong word. Definitely, as Pierre said, if I do want to give to you, understanding that these careers that we have in acting and in entertainment, as it's been said before, it's very up and down. Residual checks, you know, depending, they start dwindling off. If you're not getting any new movies and stuff like that, it can get a little sticky. If you are not humble enough to even say, like, look, yes, I am an actor, but in the meantime, while I'm not really making the money as an actor, I'll go do something else, which is what TK addressed. You know what I'm saying? I think knowing that I don't have an issue with giving if you were to ask me, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, because I do enjoy your art. I do enjoy, you know, and I did, you know, like I think what Michael Blackston wrote was like, if he's ever made you laugh, you know what I mean? And you have it to give, go ahead and give. TK sharing that information with that actor's emergency help for funeral costs, I think that was very important for him to do because they understand. And if you're in SAG and AFTRA and all those types of things, they understand that it can go up and down. So responsibility is not the word, but yeah, so I guess the answer is no. I don't feel like we have a responsibility.
Yeah, and originally when they did launch the GoFundMe, there wasn't a lot of funds coming in, so that's what kind of prompted her to bring forth and kind of, you know, put in front of people like, hey, you know, you say you love them.
But is it okay too? Because I want to say this because part of her thing was quit calling me with this fanfare business. Talking about I just loved him so much and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo and blah 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 blah. We'll show that and just giving a small donation or what have you. So I can understand the emotions that she was feeling when everybody's posting all these pictures of him and we were so great and making up these experiences that they had with him and so forth. And then you don't have a couple of dollars to go for him going away nicely. I know if he was a friend of mine or any friend of mine, you know what I'm saying? I would want them to be put in a good position. So I understand her being emotional about that.
Now, Capone, I do want to bring the same question to you with the responsibility. Do you think that should be on the fans when situations like this happen, supporting them past their art?
Again, bringing me in last makes me sound like I'm copying their answers. I want to say this. Responsibility is nobody's responsibility. The one thing TK said, and I think went over a lot of people's head, men and women. We're men and we're women. Men, women, regardless of whatever the situation is, whatever your job is, doesn't make anybody obligated to do anything for you. If anything, if anybody you should go to your family. Go to his family. Go to all of that. Putting a person just because they were inside the public's eye doesn't make anything. And I think that we have a problem addressing that because of not really knowing how to differentiate. I don't want to differentiate a job. A person that's an actor is a job. A person that tells comedy is a job. Those are jobs. But at the end of the day, you're a human being. You're a man and you're a female, and whatever your responsibilities are. And that's, to me, what he was saying. And we put these people who have these so-called great jobs on these pedestals to be looked up to have all of this, and even all of these conversations that we have. I don't give a what that person's job is. Depending on how you treat me is how I treat you. And that's just the bottom line. I had a couple of interactions with a couple of celebrities, supposed to be celebrities, with just taking a picture. And I put it out there. Michael Strahan, we was at a car show. And I said, hey, Mike, can I take a picture? And he was like, nah, man, go ahead. Because, everybody's going to want to come up and take a picture after you. I said, okay, cool. No problem. Then somebody came to me and said, hey, Capone, could we take a picture together? And he clearly changed when he found out it was me. He was like, oh, man, why you ain't say it was you? Am I supposed to? This is how you treat people because you think they're regular? No, man, I don't go for that fan shit. And I don't go for this celebrity shit. You're just a person who makes good money at a job. That's all it is to me.
I'll say this. Capone, all that passion that you felt, that's why I let you go last, because you close us out with so much passion, with so much energy, and you really just close us out so strong. So that's why I was coming to you the way that I was, Capone. See? You close us out on with passion. I appreciate y'all, as always, for calling in and giving your thoughts on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments.
Tell Capone.
Capone,
you know you the man. I'm not trying to disrespect.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.